Going live. We're live. So let's see if we can find.
Oh snap,
bro! We look real HD too. This is what real HD looks like.
This is where we're supposed to be the whole time.
So let's see. Good morning, America. We have audio. Really?
You needed the tech guy back.
And then apparently there's a 5-second delay. Like 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's quick.
All right, cool. So now no one's watching. We will share this really quickly.
Oh yeah, that's what I need to do.
Video link, copy, go to the book. I'm gonna share it on our. Bro, this is so rough.
Are you sharing
this is so rough. You want to do it on our page or my page? Are you already logged in?
I'm doing it on mine too.
Which page are you on?
I'm on my personal.
Okay,
so yeah, you go there. Do you have the link?
You can probably pull it.
What's on your mind, Julian? Paste. Here it is. Sound and all.
Our YouTube page.
Come join us for our first ever YouTube Live.
Nice.
And dang it, dude.
What happened?
I don't even think this is the right stereo pattern.
It's fine. Just
I suck,
can you hear us?
I don't know if I can hear him. Because it might just be picking me up.
Oh, well, I could hear me on the video when I was just hearing, so I'm fine with that. The link's not posting?
All right, there we go. I guess it does work. Posted. All right. Well, we made it. I'll let you post that before I start engaging you in conversation while you're distracted. So I have the beginnings of some kind of Moscow Mule. Should I add vodka or whiskey to it?
vodka?
I'm going to do the whiskey next.
All right. Yeah, man. So we back, dude. We're back. This feels refreshing. It's been too long. So a couple weeks ago, we weren't able to do a show because that's when we learned about the shadow ban on Facebook, which is, I mean, as much as that was a joke, it's a little sketchy when I see people on Facebook Live regularly. So
I've tried it multiple times. Me and him tried it. It was to work.
It was pretty heated in that last episode. So I mean, dang, yeah, it feels a little bit like we really did get banned. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So we didn't get to do a show that week, which we had big plans for, which we could potentially circle back for. Then last week you were gonna go solo on my birthday. So you were gonna podcast cheat on me on my birthday.
I was gonna give you
birthday. No, but then yeah, and I was pumped about it. I was trying to watch, and I saw it was only 8 minutes. I was like, dang, they got that done quick, boy. And
without me there, bro, they blow through this.
Without me interrupting Julian. Yeah, and then I saw the whole video with no sound. Like, man, they getting their Charlie Chaplin on, huh?
Yeah, they got it. We tried to do a little bit of miming, but it was probably not good enough to keep interest from our fans, which we deserve. But yeah, so now I did try and go live without you. I did ask for permission, just so everybody knows. And we just already missed a week.
Yeah, and that's why.
Or the week before that was our funk episode that everyone else loved, and we haven't even talked about it. They probably forgot. It's been a month. But, I was like, I'll go live, just talk to everybody, remind everyone we even do it. And then I couldn't make it work anyway. So
you threw on the mute vid.
Yeah. So we bought a new camera. Or, not a new camera. It just looks new. But we got a new Blue Yeti mic at the behest of one of our favorite fans. And now we're here.
Do I have a Yeti, but I have the snow globe one. Did you see those when you're looking at this? It's just a little round one. Sits on a little tripod. Used to use it to record. A terrible mic. Terrible.
And then it was better.
No, this one was the actual one you're supposed to get, but balling on a budget, Rich decided to get the cheap one. And it was cool. It was better than using, before then I was using headphone mic where you had to hold it close and hope it didn't bounce around and give you static. So, it was an upgrade for sure. But yeah, it looks a lot. I thought the last one looked pretty official. This looks
pretty official. And we do have it on the right polar pattern, so it should be picking this up. If there's any weird audio, let us know in the comments. But otherwise, let's get started. It's been 5 minutes already of us literally doing nothing. So let's dive in. For those who tune in later and everything, we've got Mike and Evangelina. So some of our Michaela. With those three, bro, we can just go. That's all we need.
Absolutely. So what's up, man? You got an intro for the show? What do you want to talk about?
You know, I mean, I had a lot more plans for last week's episode. So a lot of these notes are now going to be known news. Like it's already been covered. The news cycle's passed us up. We do have some good news coming up about, or we're going to have to talk about, obviously, the whole GameStop stock manipulation / coordination / government intervention, whatever. We'll get to that. I got a couple just random news stories that we're going to touch on. Rio Linda made the national news a couple weeks ago. I'll tell you guys why. We'll probably briefly touch on Bitcoin. I live in Rio Linda, for those of you who don't know.
I'll send you the address in the comments for all your hate mail.
I had a segment, real quick. I had a segment that I had came up with for when I was going to do it by myself. That was worst things to do by yourself. Not because I was like, this podcast assumedly was not going to be like great. So I was like, this sucks. What are other things that suck to do by yourself? And I figured our commenters would have some pretty some innuendo to add in. So maybe we'll just have that just for fun later. I have it written down. But that's all I got. And then what about you? Anything? Oh, I do have a new segment that I want to do called What I Love About Joe Biden. And that'll be my weekly.
I'm interested to see the funny things you come up with, to be honest.
So that's me. What about you? You want to lay down some groundwork?
I mean, is one of the things you love about Joe Biden that he has a Peloton or a Rolex?
Let's get to that segment before I dive into that.
Gotcha. Yeah, man, I have a bunch of random stuff. So for a couple shows ago, per Michael and Herb, I had researched a bunch of Arby's stuff just for Arby News. So I could talk there, especially because I don't know, do you ever watch the videos RDC World does? It's the group of black dudes who are into anime and they do all those videos. He just did an Arby's one.
No, he didn't.
And so he just did an Arby's one, and in it he's like an Arby's dude who shows up and he's like, "Hey yo, I got your Arby's." He's like, "I didn't order any food." He was like, "Yo man, no, just like take it. It's on the house." He was like, "Nah, man, I don't want that. Like, just give it a chance, man." Just going in, and so it made me laugh, and it was huge trending on Twitter. And it made me laugh because of some of the research I did. So I know this was a while ago, so I do apologize. This wasn't supposed to be a month later episode, but I did want to circle back to Arby's because a lot of people have questions. So
you're not the only one who wonders.
I thought this was crazy. They have 3,450 locations. Like, Arby's isn't a joke. They have the meats, which I don't know is the best fast food motto.
I think they know what they're getting into when they say it. I think they're catering to a crowd that maybe me and you aren't a part of. You know what I'm saying? And they're in there.
Not only that, but the funniness of it, I think, and I'll get into that more. But so Inspire, it's not Arby's, which I thought it was. Arby's was the blanket company. It's not. It's Inspire Brands is actually the main company, and they own Buffalo Wild Wings, Arby's, Sonic, Dunkin' Donuts. There's a couple other things that's not on the West Coast.
That's a team, bro.
But that's a pretty good. And a lot of these they've bought over the last few years, but I thought that was pretty good. But we were right. So Arby's was doing bad just a decade ago. So they were pretty terrible. And I think I wrote in here, Forbes even said they were like one of the worst. They performed one of the worst out of all modern restaurants, like bottom 3. So we were right, and most people were right, that Arby's was pretty crap. However, 2013, this guy, John Brown, he was the former president of Hilton Worldwide, comes on and just is like, we're not going to be corporate. We're going to be jokes. We're going to have fun. And instead of that weird stuff where you sue people, we're just going to have fun, and we're going to make jokes. And they did that in a couple ways that the first was they adopted the tagline, "We have the meats," and kind of went into, the talking hand commercials, kind of went more into humor. And another thing that they do, which I thought was pretty awesome, was they test over 1,000 menu items per year. So they're always just filtering in new stuff. And if in the first week it is 12% of sales, they'll keep it on. If it stays in between 4 to 6% throughout the year, then it'll become permanent. And so they're not like Taco Bell where all your favorite stuff gets kicked off the menu. They'll keep all the best stuff on the menu. So even though I don't know anyone who really goes there, the people who do go there are happy because they're getting their favorite stuff, higher on the menu, and they make it cheaper. Even to the point they go into certain markets that way. They did a venison burger in hunting markets that ended up getting off the menu. But when they first dropped it for like 2 months straight, it sold out every single day. But then it fell off and they just were like, okay, the wow factor's gone. So they're pretty smart in that factor. And then came the joke. So when it first started, the big incident that first started the RB joke that I think like helped them was when Pharrell first wore that hat.
I forgot about that.
So when Pharrell first wore the hat, they tweeted from their direct page, and they were one of the early places to do this type of thing, which is super common on Twitter now. But they tweeted, hey, we want our hat back after the show. And it just blew up and everyone started making jokes. Jon Stewart started making jokes on a regular basis, and they were losing stock because of it. And they were going to sue Jon Stewart over it. And the John Brown came and he was like, no, let's take a different approach. Let's cater. So they catered directly to him and he just kept the jokes running. And
that's a genius move right there.
They ended up having a long
really
relationship. And at the end, that's what they even tweeted at Jon Stewart when he retired and were like, hey, we got a job for you. We know you would love. And so they just continue to make jokes. And dude, ended up becoming huge. And I think they kind of just dove straight in with youth and jokes and the internet and not being super serious corporate. And I think that just helped get them to be successful, even though we're still all confused. They're smart and kind of.
So there's somewhere where it's booming just because the one on a Watt and Elkhorn's pretty much always it. So on, empty, but on what I can see here, it's the number 14th. This is as of December 2019. Fast food chain. U.S. Sales is 3,800 million. So would that make it 3.8 billion? 3.8 billion. Yeah. So I hate when they do that. Like just put the million or the billion there. So they're selling units, average sales per unit, unit count. They're out here. Yep. So as of the end of 2019, 3,300. I hope my brother's getting a kick out of all of this because he's he's obsessed. He talked about it on his podcast.
That one by the old house, the one you're talking about, Elkhorn and Willerga. I remember they like tore it down. And I was like, finally, this is crazy. And they redid it. They were just remodeling, and that was once after I think 2016, they were like super positive. They were doing really well, and so over 1,000 restaurants they updated, and that's like around the time that it happened. It's like, man. This is crazy. It doesn't matter how many times you drive by empty drive-through. Them and Long John Silver's, they're going to stay.
Bro, I don't know about Long John's. You saw we lost the one that's out in Citrus Heights, went down in flames. So that might be the subject of our next week's fast food.
Fish and chips ain't popping. You see what happened to Tugboat?
What happened? They went under too?
I don't know. They've been going.
So let me turn this unit into a quick trivia segment. I think you could probably easily guess what's the number one most popular fast food in America.
McDonald's?
Easily. So they have they have $38 billion in US sales annually. That's pretty crazy, which grew over the previous year. So, and they're getting more. We said that Arby's had 3,300 stores. McDonald's has 14,000. So they're out there. Do you want to go out on a limb and go for number 2?
Carl's Jr. Hardee's?
Starbucks.
I would say when you first were naming a bunch of stores, I was like, I wonder if Starbucks is on this list. And if so, I'd say they're number 2.
It's kind of cheating, but
that makes sense.
They're up there. The difference is, they have way less sales, but even more stores. There's more Starbucks than McDonald's. That's kind of interesting.
I'm surprised they're still that way, but you remember when they were first doing Starbucks, they were legit on every other corner, which didn't seem like it made the most sense because it seems like you're saturating your own market.
But
But
I want to say I'm proud of North Highlands. We just got that Starbucks on Elkhorn and Watt is like the first one in North Highlands.
No, unless you count the Watt and Roseville Road one, the one that's by that Pizza Hut Wingstop place. Jamba Juice used to be right there.
Dang, you're right. Right there was a Starbucks there.
It's still there. It's been there
North
forever.
Highlands. No, that's North Highlands. You got me.
But other than that, I'm trying to think. I can't think of enough. Maybe on Watt between somewhere like Carl or something over there, but I can't think of it. There's even other coffee spots over there, like little Java Expresses, but I can't. Yeah.
So shout out to Starbucks and their overpriced coffee / other drinks, but
super high in sugar.
Everybody,
drinks.
Here's the trip, bro. And this isn't new. I've said this 50 times before, but we know a lot of people who drink Starbucks. We know a lot of people who pretend they don't eat at McDonald's. Like they're not putting up these numbers if no one eats there, like everyone pretends that they don't.
Man, that's the crazy thing. I thought I would eat there forever. I was like, man, I'm never gonna be too bougie. I'm always gonna. You know what these McChickens have done for me? You know what these McDoubles, or back when they were just double doubles when it had two cheeses
on them. Yep.
But then they turned into McDoubles, and we thought that was we thought they put a McChicken and a McDouble together. We were like, oh, they got this in the menu. No, they just took a cheese away. But I swore, and I still will go there occasionally because I just crave their fries every once in a while. But it's crazy to think how little I actually eat there. I thought I would never grow out of that. Now I'm like the bougie fast food guy where it's just a little bit fancier. So I go to Chipotle, Panda, like those where it's still fast food, but it's just a little bit top notch.
Bro, I have no problem with McDonald's except the prices they try and charge. A regular combo at McDonald's is really like $8. So it's like I might as well spend a couple more and go to the premium version. Like,
yeah, that's true.
You
could go to Carl's Jr. and you're gonna pay $14 for a meal.
I know the $6 burger's $8.79 now, bro. Just quit it. But so yeah, just some random fast food trivia for those who are interested in that type of thing. What else? The comments are getting on you for saying Panda's fancy.
I mean, I'm saying it's fancy fast food. I mean, it's not McDonald's, that's for sure.
Oh, and Subway was number 3, just so you know. I think someone in the comments was asking.
Yeah, Evangeline asked that.
So,
really?
Subway's number 3. As hard as
Jared changed the game.
I wonder what. I can't believe people spend money. Do you eat at Subway?
No, I haven't eaten there. I eat there when we worked at Paramount because it's right there. And I used to get the same thing, chicken bacon ranch every time.
The $5 foot long. So I would go and get the meatball sub because I love to put like onions, pepperoncinis. I would get the meatball sub and put everything on there like it was a regular sandwich. I don't know why I love that so much. But ever since they got rid of that, I haven't been one time. 0 times.
They're talking about counting your nuggets. That's like counting your nuggets is like counting your money out the ATM. It's just guaranteed. Like I don't trust it. I need it. It's so crazy too because you be mad when you get 9, but you don't give them no credit when you get 11. You just be like, oh, yep, that's what I thought.
Plug.
That's it, and that's it. But you don't give them no. They give you 9 though.
Turn it back around. The
only place you don't get mad if they give you less nuggets is Burger King because they charge you $1 for a 10. It is what it is.
Yeah, you expect 8, really. Anything above that's a win.
Well, the worst part is they'll give you 15 because they're just like, we got to get these going.
Apparently, our audience knows about Prime Walk.
Man, Prime Walk. Josh knows about Prime Walk. That's, man.
How much, when we got fat, how much of that could be blamed on the walk?
A lot of it.
When you went in, how much was the lunch? $7.50?
$6.99. So it's like basically $7.50. Yeah.
Oh taxes. My God, the spicy pineapple chicken,
bro. When you used to be eating your chow mein and you would like hit nuggets under there, dude. That spicy pineapple. What you do is I'm gonna put you guys on if you go to Prime Walk, so you can get everything. Open? Yeah, or I don't know. I haven't worked out there in a while, but it was open. I'm working from home
now. Duh.
So Prime Walk, if you go there, you could get everything spicy. So get your chow mein spicy, heat. So, but you'll get that pineapple spicy. What you want to do is you want to dig all of the chicken out of one of the little cups, like one of the little spouts, because there's going to be this liquid in there. And it's so saucy. It's so spicy. You get some of them top nuggets that don't have as much sauce on it. dip it in there.
Recycle the sauce.
Mouth watering. My mouth is watering now because the last few times I was there, I was on diets because you're guaranteed to put on 5 pounds eating there. They do not.
They're open for takeout.
That's a lunch and dinner.
Everybody go to Prime Walk. Let them know the Jules&Rich podcast sent you.
Yeah, because
we're not going to get any cut.
Yeah.
They're not going to give us a dime, but let's make the customers confused about what's going on.
Dude, while you're looking up that type of stuff, is Pearl House still open?
I just went yesterday, Monday.
So yes, it is still open. Dude, I love Pearl House. They need to franchise
the
Pearl
lunch
House.
special for $6.99 too. May God bless them.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if you have rice or chow mein and I'm eating it and hit more chicken, you are going to heaven, guaranteed.
They deserve it. They deserve it.
That dude, Prime Walk is one of those, but Pearl House, dude, you'll think you're done with chicken and have a whole half order under your chow mein. It's the best, bro. I love that place.
I'm trying to look up Prime Walk's menu real quick just to look. So for those of you who don't have access to Google, it's out in Rockland off of Sierra Garden. No. Over by Sportsman's Warehouse.
What is that? Lone Tree. It's off Lone Tree.
Lone Tree. Go shout them out.
Oh, yeah. If you've been to Lucille's, another fireplace, unless you're from Texas or the South, then it's probably not great barbecue. But for us Californians, it's really good. But who did Evangeline say? El Perion? El Perion on what?
Is that what we see down on Lone Tree, though, too?
But yeah, there's an El Perion on Lone Tree that we used to eat at. Really fire. I love
Sorry, we didn't mean to turn this into a food.
But Evangeline, so shout out to El Perion on what? Because she said her mom makes tortillas there on the weekend. So,
oh, for real?
I'm definitely gonna go in there. They got mocajetes there.
Can we eat inside?
Yeah,
bro. I want to show the people, but I don't know if I don't want to mess the camera up. This is what Prime Walk's food really looks like. Look at that. All meat. Can you see it?
You can.
Zoom in on all the meat and the little amount of chow mein on there.
How would you be able to zoom in?
Yeah. After you watch it.
Screenshot it, spread your 2 fingers around, and look at how much meat they have.
I know. Why didn't you just tell me to Google it?
Yeah.
Google Prime Walk.
Because I got excited. This is why we need a big screen up here, and I can cast my screen to it and just look at.
You know what's a blessing, man? When they have horchata, but it's not in the back, so you don't have to go to them. You could just get free refills,
bro.
Oh,
it's not common enough. It's not common enough.
That's why I love Don Quixote's out there too. There's one out here in Natomas too, but they have the horchata out, and it's like Chipotle, but they have a chip bar and they have horchata out by everything. If that's not the plug,
what place?
Don Quixote's. They have a chip bar, and it's like Chipotle though. So you build your burrito. Yeah. You can build a burrito bowl, but they have a chip bar that's out there with salsa and stuff.
I won't eat at a Mexican food place without it. If they're not,
you really will not.
Where?
That day we moved, there was no chip bar.
Oh, that's because of COVID.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, no, you're right though. Now I will, because I mean you're lucky to find a place you can sit down and eat. But pre-COVID, if I would not support anyone who didn't have a chip bar. That's a fact. Am I getting gassed on? Why is he laughing?
No, that's the plug. Man.
Michael got kicked out of Don Quixote's, he said.
Oh, he can't. Oh, yeah. So that's I work with him. I took him to Don Quixote's because that's the plug. And they have a weird setup though. So it's like where you walk in, there's just a little railing right there. Well, they have where you put your plates on top of the trash, right there. And if you catch it at a lunch rush, it's packed, bro, packed. So I'll normally just leave my plate on the table. And the first time we go, he goes and he tries to put his plate on there. But behind the trash can, it's this triangle that creates like a subwoofer. And he drops one of those thick Mexican plates behind it. And it breaks. The loudest break I've probably heard in my life of like a broken plate. So everyone looks at us. All the workers look at us. I was like, dude, I'm never bringing you here again. You ruined this. And
I shared something personal with you, and you're going to embarrass me.
But we went back multiple times, so he's fine to go there. But it cracked me. It like startled everyone in there. And in Rockland, you can't be making loud bang noises. You might get arrested on spot.
Yeah, don't take him there anymore. I don't think he deserves it.
Rockland is like an outside Planet Fitness. Too much noise, you can't come back.
What do they call it when they hit the nerf alert? What is it called? The goon alert or something?
The thuggish ruggish bone alarm.
Bro, dang, I'm looking through my notes from last, because after that last episode we did, like I really felt some kind of way. Do you remember? I mean, do you remember we were obviously arguing? We were both heated.
Yeah.
And I want to say something real quick because I just feel bad about calling people retards all the time. And I realized
You're not supposed to say that word.
Well, I'm going to try and not call people it. It's been heavy on me a little bit that I'm not smarter than other people and I shouldn't be calling them the R word. So I just wanted to float that, not to get too serious, but before I forget, and I just saw it in my comments that
do you have to roll your R's to say that word?
Tarrito.
No, not that.
Tarrata.
What Evangeline wants us to do? I can't do that part. Yeah, I can't do that part.
Try it.
No, man. Yeah. That I always feel weird about it. I definitely just felt, dude, and that's what I rewatched it because I wasn't gonna rewatch it because I felt like terrible about that one. But I saw really good feedback. We were getting really good feedback, and then I watched it. I was like, "This is like getting feedback from people who watch Jersey Shore." Like when you're the reality TV star, like when I see them, I'm like, dude, I'd be embarrassed. Like that, I felt embarrassed watching it back. It was just how, and not really you, man. It was really me. Everything that I felt was really me personally, how I handled it. It was very emotional, which I'm hopefully blaming on alcohol in that state, but it honestly, I felt like reality TV. I do think it was a good conversation that we had. I think that was important to have both sides. I think it was important to come from friends who, no matter what our conversation ended up being that day, we were going to leave here loving each other and being friends and getting ready for the next week's show. So I think those were all positives. I think people who said those type of things were right. I think those were positives. But how I handled myself was just, that was embarrassing, man. And luckily I was a 29-year-old, because as a 30-year-old, I need to carry myself better.
I did not think that was embarrassing. I thought we had a good time. I thought
let me pop this beer.
I thought we want to pass that Black Label over there. What, a single barrel?
But it was cool, man. It was cool. It was a good show.
I had a great time. I did feel bad about calling everyone stupid because like this is the thing. One, I'm honored you guys even take the time to listen to me talk seriously, because I don't think I'm that smart. But like then to insult people's intelligence. But then, bro, I was sitting the other day watching Joe Biden talk and sign all these executive agreements, and I was like, I really was like, no, these people are retarded. I couldn't even get, like, you read any of those executive orders he passed?
Yeah, a few of them.
Yeah. You supported any of them? Has he done anything so far that makes you proud that you voted for him?
Yeah, I personally like the Paris climate agreement. I don't think, and this goes back to Sean, I just like it as, if we're going to decide to be the big brother, the powerhouse, then I think we should show our face. You know how I feel about China pollution, though. And I've spoken long about China pollution and how we could do a lot. If they do nothing, it's not going to matter. But I like at least showing our face there. The private prison executive order, I like that. Getting rid of private prisons on the federal level. I will speak to that just in case you didn't know. The federal private prisons take up, I think it's 21% of private prisons. So that's all it affected. It didn't affect all private prisons. A lot of them are state, or the other ones are like ICE detention centers are not covered under that executive order. So when that was a huge thing from the right, which is Joe Biden is for private prisons and he's in their pocket, it was cool to see him kind of do that.
What's wrong with private prisons?
Well, when your quota is based on people who are in beds, they're going to make sure that people are in jail. So that means people are going to get sentenced to be in jail longer. People are going to, they're going to try to get people in there. Like if you have to hit a quota in order to get government money or whatever it may be, then you're going to keep people in there. Like where your profit comes from prisoners.
Judges, though. Like that's, like there's corrupt judges. I'm not going to say there's not. But to blame people going to prison on private prisons seems logically lacking.
Well, yeah. So then it goes to the other side. Should we allow politicians to make money from private prisons? That definitely goes into it.
Personally, I own stock in 2 private prisons, so I'm low-key just shout to Core Civic, bro. I know we're having a tough year, man, but we gonna pull it out.
But I and that's what I mean. Like I personally liked it.
But
I would have to look more. I know last thing I read, it was 37 total. So I would have to read more into it for sure. But I can honestly say I know about maybe 2 Trump executive orders, and he signed 220. So I just need to research more.
Well, he banged 30 in 7 days or 3 days or 4 days. But he's just, I mean, I had to answer for Trump for 4 years, so now you get to answer for Biden for the next. 4 years.
We didn't do our.
That's fair.
No, I don't. When did we pick our show back up? So we stopped our show right after the election. We picked it up right before this election. No, we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop our show then, because that was y'all gotta bring the show back. How does your boy feel about Trump? So that's how you had to answer. You're gonna make me answer it on air, especially when I was vocal about both of them sucking. I was just more thinking Trump sucked more. But
I'm amazed that you like the Paris Climate Accord. I'm honestly shocked that you're supporting that.
Well, and it is more, and that's what I say. It's more about if we are, and that's you are different in that light. Like you don't think, and I guess I agree with that. So I guess I need to figure out where, like, I don't think we should be in it if we're not going to continue to be Big Bro. Where you are like, you don't think we need to be saving everybody. We don't need to be Big Brother. We need to just go into being who we are, which is America, which I agree with, but it's just not going to happen, in my opinion. I don't think we're ever not going to be this super powerhouse. And if we are, I think we're going to have to do some things that are maybe just us showing face, like joining the German club because you're taking German class, right? And that's not the case for us because German club was the most smacking club at Foothill. True. And by a large margin.
Catch your boy in some lederhosen,
and them lederhosen eating a bunch of free pizza, bro. $1 pizza. So I don't know. I do need to look into it more because
I'm not going to press you on details. I'm just saying I was surprised because we've been on here ranting about climate change. So, but you're not saying it from the climate change.
Yeah. I'm saying it more of who America pretends that we are, that we need to do that type of thing. But how do you feel about these Republicans coming out and saying like they care more about the Paris citizens than they do about American citizens? Do you they're not that dumb, right?
Wait.
So there's multiple Republicans that have come out. Ted Cruz.
No, but they're saying that the Democrats care more.
Getting back into the Paris Climate Agreement is showing that they care more about Paris citizens than they do about Pittsburgh citizens, I think is what Ted Cruz said. When the Paris Climate Agreement is literally just signed in Paris and has nothing to do with Paris citizens. Like, I imagine they're not that dumb, and this is more of like, we're trying to get people up in arms a lot like big media does the opposite way. Because when I was like, there's no way you guys are this dumb.
No. And I didn't see it. I'm assuming that was probably on Twitter or something because that flew below my radar. If it's true and they did say that, obviously I think it's nonsense. I do think that Biden has done a few things already that shows he doesn't. I mean, the words came out of, I'm going to paraphrase, but everyone else fact check me. We'll save our time. He did say something to the effect of like, he doesn't have interest in America first policies, and that like in this quote, he said, a healthy China is good for all of us. So someone must have asked him about China. My point is like, I could see if they're saying like he cares about non-citizens more than citizens or something to that effect. I don't know.
No, they were saying it.
Right. I don't. Yeah. Obviously that's just nonsense. Cause it's not like we're just sending money to Paris. Literally.
It's just where the treaty was signed.
So even I know that.
But yeah, no, I'll have more information on how I feel about his executive orders. But yeah, I mean, he's on. That's what I want to know. Which is, I was looking at that because that's a weird thing that a lot of people think is like Obama made executive orders like popping, like doing executive orders. Obama
Yeah.
made that, and he's done like the least amount in recent times. And then like Teddy Roosevelt did like thousands of them, which
so
probably
Obama
had to
popularized them. I think Bush even had some.
Bush had more. George W. had more than Obama.
Yeah, so I know. So this is the thing. Like,
is it just what he did them on that made him pop? Like, how did he popularize it? It's just what he chose to do. Like, Obamacare was a huge issue, and then he did it.
I mean, was George ever popular?
So, okay, gotcha.
Like,
yeah.
I think but I think it was allowed, and I was going to say, I think this is the historic difference between a conservative and a Republican, because like people like Rand Paul and other libertarians have been blowing the horn on Republicans, like, bro, you don't want to open like they call it, like, you don't want to open Pandora's box. Like, once you start doing this, the other side, same thing I've said, millions of people have said, you don't want to let them do it.
Yeah.
So Bush does a gang of them, Obama does a gang of them, Trump does a gang of them, and then now it's back, and the Republicans are pissed that now Biden's doing it. And when the conservatives have been saying the whole time, if you want a law passed, we go to the legislature. But anyway,
and both sides say that because that's what something they've been harping on Biden about saying. Because there was a time where they said, what were they talking about though? It was something in particular because they kind of misquoted him, but he said it in like about this, and they were talking about, I don't know if it was his budget plan, healthcare or something, but they asked him, it was George, whatever, Stopalopoulos, that guy. He asked him, like, why don't you just sign it in an executive order? And he was like, well, you can't sign everything into executive order unless you're a dictator. And then he comes out and starts hot. So it's like, yo, you said this, I am interested. I want to see if he cools down, because it does seem so far most of his executive orders are to reverse Trump things. So I want to know, is that a factor in? But I mean, does that mean if Trump did 220, you're going to do 221 to reverse everything? That's wild. So I don't know. I know I'm going to have to defend Biden a lot. So I'm going to say this a lot. I was not a huge Biden fan, but I will defend him because that's the hill I decided to die on in this case.
I mean, you don't have to die on it. It's just like,
you have to answer.
And here's the thing. Here's what you got to understand. Now that Trump's not the president, it's like I'm Rock Lee and I just dropped those 100-pound ankle weights.
Because now you don't have to
no one can be like, but Trump.
Yeah.
Like the boogeyman is gone. Like,
well, I mean, unless everyone
hurricane kicks, and that, like,
well, I mean, unless everyone acts like a lot of Trump fans act, where it was, but Obama was this, but Obama did this. People are still going to do the but Trump, but I will try not to do the.
No, and you can't, because you can. But now I get to talk about what I always want to talk about, which is policies. Liberal policies are ass, and over the next 4 years, I'm going to make sure everybody knows about it in the few minutes per week that I get to talk about it before everyone gets bored and I have to go back to talking about whatever it is they want to hear. Arby's jokes.
Yeah, some fire Arby's.
But I mean, we weren't there, so you want to? I mean, do you want to? I mean, we did talk about the 6th. I think so. The 7th or the 8th was the last episode we did, but we didn't talk about the inauguration. We didn't talk about the aftermath. We can quickly hit it. We can skip over it. We're only at 40 minutes. We can jump into some news stories. We can jump into whatever. You let me know what you're in.
But to answer Dustin, because Dustin said, by the way, Trump signed the least amount of executive orders. So Obama signed 297 executive orders in 8 years, and Trump did 220 in 4 years. So that is factual.
He went hard.
But he was on pace to sign significantly more.
He went hard. That's why I didn't even try and play that.
Yeah, but just answer.
That's because a true conservative would be concerned when a person in power is overstepping their bounds. That's a conservative idea. So
that's what I'm just excited about Trump being out, man. And I told you this. I'm excited to see, and I hope it's not one of these like Lauren Boebert or Marjorie Taylor Greene. I hope it's like a real conservative person wins, because I would like just to see the conservative model without the crazy extreme version of it. And I feel like that's what they tried to do with Biden rather than Bernie, was take that approach. Not to say that that was a good idea. But I'm excited. And I don't know who it'll be. I need to research more, less cuckoo bird conservatives, like far right ideology.
So let me ask just a quick, Trump's personality notwithstanding, what cuckoo bird policy did he pass?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Person. I get that you don't care. I just don't understand
why people get so tripped up. I just can't wrap my head around it. I know to most people it's a popularity contest, but it's literally not. Or it's not supposed to be. I just really, everyone wants to bag on him for a year about his COVID shit, and then Biden's literally coming out and coming up with even more wonky shit to talk. It's just crazy to me that people are really truly upset that he supposedly says these things. And again, I already dropped the weights. I'm not going to keep standing up for him. It just it's just the idea that no, we'll take worse policies than a guy who seems nicer. All right, I guess, and more power to you, I guess.
I think that
seems crazy.
Well, I think that's you were raised, or maybe not, but I feel like since I've known you, you have a political background. That's not a lot of people. A lot of people aren't into politics super early in their life. I think so. When you think about a president, it's you could grow up to be the president. That is the greatest belief in the world. And in America, growing up is, being the president, grow up to be the president. And so you view it as a character role. And when you see it go from, and this is the perfect example, you even say, a lot of people do not like Obama's presidency in terms of his policies, but his character was on 1,000. Then there's Trump, who's the anti-Obama, he has Republican policies that were better for the economy, did great things, but his character is in the negatives. And that just seemed weird, to be at the highest mantle in the world and to just always have to take the credit when it's positive and never take the blame when it's negative, and to mock people and make fun of. And if you didn't vote for me, then you're on the wrong side when we're supposed to be the United States. There's just so much that, don't get me wrong, I take into account they were hard on him too. But there was a lot of, they were hard on him after he decided to be if you're not on my side, then I'm not on your side. So I think it's a lot of that, but I've grown to understand your take. And I've even said that, I 100% understand that you're voting more for the policies that you believe in. And it doesn't matter if it's Trump or Rubio or Ted Cruz or Hawley or any of these people, because you stand more on what the Republican policies are and what will get put forward. And I think the policies and a lot of things Trump did would have happened with any Republican. And that's what I mean.
I don't disagree with that.
So I understand why. And that's what I think people need to understand about people who voted for Trump, like you especially. It's you didn't vote for Trump, but that's how most people equate it. It's you voted for this dude, this shitty dude. And you're no, I voted for what I knew would get put into place in policies. And that's how you're viewing other people who are dude, you voted for this dude who's going to crash the economy or whatever it may be, throwing away jobs or, different stuff like that. So I'm learning to get both sides. And really it is because I stand more in the middle than I ever have in my life in these situations where it's just I understand, I'm going to have to pick one of these things. And in this case, I picked this just because I didn't read enough about Jo Jorgensen, really, because I probably would have just voted for her to have an out like I did in the last election.
What? I voted for Jo Jorgensen. Good, man. That's good. Jo Jorgensen. Good thing everyone wasted their votes on old Jo Jorgensen. That way we could get Joe Biden instead.
On camera, is that legal?
You could try to. No, it's like I said, now I get to be free. I get to talk to people about policies and try and change people's hearts and minds without being attached to Donald Trump, who obviously had his own personal issues and baggage. So that's good. That's good. Has anyone checked Bitcoin's price?
Is it still popping or did it go down yet?
And then we should talk about GME.
Was
34.
It's 34. It was 40 though the last time we were talking, right? So
yeah, it came
down,
down, but it went back up. So it was.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about Robinhood based on the episode.
Yeah,
too.
we will. That's what we'll talk. I was trying to come up with a good segue. I'm sure we'll go back into Joe Biden's weak ass policies, but for now I'll be done. So it was up at 46.75. It's down to 33.983. So basically 34.6 divided by 4.
Oh shoes.
So it's down what 18%, 17. So a lot of people probably lost some money over the past couple since we last chatted, but that's okay. I did want to talk about my other weekly segment that I didn't find a new one for, but our suicide watch of the week. And this is the guy who has $225 million of Bitcoin locked up and he can't get to it because he forgot his password.
He only has a couple times to try too, right? He has like 3 more password attempts.
8 out of 10 tries. So imagine the prison he's in.
No, did you see the other dude? He has like 125 million on a flash drive he threw away in like 2013. Tried to make a deal with the city to dig it up for like 10% or something. And they were like, it will change that's so long ago. We don't know if we'll find it. And B, it could change like the earth if we dig
threw it away in 2013?
Yeah.
So, I mean, here's just an obvious weakness of Bitcoin. Just a blatant, obvious weakness. If I forget my Golden One password, I guess I just gave it personal information. But I do bank with Golden One.
What's the last 4?
Huh?
Security code?
So if
expiration?
Over the next couple weeks, like, what's your birthday again? I forgot. Just writing it down. Didn't you have a dog named, what was it again?
Sounds like I'm trying to get into your Google. Imagine it's criminal.
Okay. And what was the name of the first high school you went to? Okay. Elementary? Nah, but if I forget, I call Golden One. They verify my, all of my information that you're going to try and milk from me. They send me a new password.
Our information? It's kind of like it's both of ours.
If you really think about it, I mean, so I mean, that's a pretty blatant, the beauty of it is the downside of it, the anonymity, the stealthiness of it. Just imagine the horror. His wife's been left him $225 million, 8 digits away from your fingers at all times. But when you're down to 2 tries, each try in a way is worth 110 million. And I'm sure he's tried. And then what if he already forgot his first one and he wastes his 9th one and it's one he already did?
You don't think he wrote it down before he wrote it?
Well, who knows at what point he realized he didn't know. You know what I'm like? You go in, I have 19 different passwords for all my different banks and stuff. I'll waste 3 quick. Like this, no. I don't know. Maybe that's just how I roll, but I can imagine the sickening feeling.
How you roll.
Okay, you know what?
Do you want to ride with me? Ride with me. We could get low. Yeah, that's tough.
But
man.
Let's talk about GameStop. Let's talk about GameStop. Is there a burst in there?
Huh?
You got a burst in there?
A burst.
You want a boat shoes?
So yeah, man. So we had talked. I'll be honest. I'm not huge into stocks. I do not trade any stocks currently. That's something I will get into. But I actually got a very elementary course from you probably 2 months ago. I called you about, and which is super funny because I feel like this happening is super funny to the conversation we had. But I called you asking some really dumb questions, and luckily you were very patient with me, way more patient than you were on the last episode with me. But you answered a lot of my questions and made me feel really good about the stock market and my understanding. And now probably in the last 2 days, you probably educated me that amount again because we've had to discuss this. So I don't know a lot. I didn't even know technically what a short was. So I had to look into a short a little more. And then I had to look into what a squeeze was to understand the full scope of what happened. And honestly, it It makes sense, but it doesn't. So I'll talk about that. So what a short is, to give a simple.
Let's paint the picture for those who maybe have no idea, and then or do you think it's better? So really quick, a group of people online got together. I feel like
you need to know what a short is first. So I'll just say that.
Okay.
So what a short is essentially is Julian has a stock he plans to hold for a long time. I can what's called short the stock by borrowing the stock from Julian. And you could do that, but you have to hold, I think, especially as a hedge fund, you have to hold 50 to 75% of the money in order to hold that stock. But you don't have to hold the full 100%. So you could do that more times than there are actually the amount of stock out
leverage, in other words.
Perfect. Now we'll go into the full story to understand what.
Well, let me add one thing to that. What makes it a benefit is I can short a stock if I think it's going to go down.
Yep.
Because I'm going to borrow it from you for $10, sell it to him for $10. Let's just pretend. Sell it to him for $10. I'm going to buy it later for $6 and keep $4. That's why people short.
Yeah.
I'm making right. So you short if you think something's going to go down.
So
that's the
like
pivotal
GameStop.
Piece of information you need to know.
Yeah. Because you'll see, we're going to talk about multiple companies they've now done this on or work to do this on. But you could understand, like GameStop, for instance, if you know anything about GameStop, we've made these jokes since probably middle school that you can sell back your new console and 60 games and they'll give you a fresh $8.17. And by $8.17, I mean $8.17. You could go back the next day, try to buy that same stuff, and they'll sell it to you for $800. So like everyone knows that's a running joke. GameStop's a joke. They're a terrible company and all. Now with PS5s and all these new systems, they've been selling them online. So GameStop's probably not doing well. Yeah. So smart on investors' part, you would say they're going to continue to lose. So shorting it was a smart investment. And most times is a very, very smart investment.
It's pretty much fundamental. That's a fun. GameStop's going to zero eventually in the near future.
So you could say smart in what they were trying to do. So what Wall Street's Reddit group did is they decided to buy a bunch of GameStop stock, like a crazy amount of it, and raise the amount up a crazy amount. Because what happens is those companies that bought it for 10, once it gets too high, the people that they shorted it from or borrowed the stock from wants their loan back or wants that back.
Which is known as a margin call in the game.
Which, by the way, people have been posting and acting like Robinhood has been selling their stuff, but it was a margin call. So that's really ignorant too, and against the cause of this class action they're about to get. So that's what's happening. And so at the time in which made this a lot more volatile and made these hedge funds lose is it was shorted at, I think, 136%. So to put in perspective, the short had happened so much that there were more shares out there than there were actually shares. So 100% are all the shares that they could sell. There was 136% based on the shorts. So a lot of those hedge funds were going to be out of a lot of money because they have to be able to sell those stocks or buy the stocks back to give them to the person they loaned them from essentially, right? That's the squeeze aspect. And so the hedge funders weren't happy about it, right? I mean, this is what they typically do, but now they were getting it done. Now, that's the positive from the Reddit group. Now, the negative, and the first thing you said when I messaged you is, yes, it's proving a point, but there are going to be a lot of losers because GameStop still sucks.
So, so there's a couple things that need to be clarified too. There is and we're going to try and get back on Facebook for those commenters, but we just didn't. We're already in a rush. It took us 5 minutes to get this started. But so people on Reddit got together and ran up a price on purpose, which is collusion. So if anything, I hate to say it, that's illegal.
Is it? I read you're allowed to talk about trading.
You're allowed to talk about trading technically, but you're not allowed to have if we caught Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan doing it, people would be pissed. We're both going to buy this stock. we're both going to dump $1 billion into this systematically, because that's literally a pump. It would be a colluding on a pump and dump, where you pump it up and then you short sell it and follow. And it's not wrong, but it's not right.
Yeah, but that's essentially what hedge funds do though, right?
Well, so now here's the thing. If I own one single company, the Jules&Rich Securities and Bonds Organization, and I have 10,000 brokers and billions of dollars, I can't systematically run up the price, especially of a lower market cap.
So
right?
that's
If I have $10 billion,
but if you and a bunch of people do it, that's fine though, right?
If I called you Richard Perry Securities Organization, I was like, listen, if you want to get in on this with me, I'm about to finesse these people. That would be that would be against the law.
But if you just posted on your internet page, hey, like Warren Buffett tells people what they should buy, that's not illegal, right? Hey, you should invest.
Well, that's why they're not going to. No one's going to go to jail, because they'd have to prove that it was a coordinated, right? And it's a Reddit post, and it's not organized. So it's not cartel. It's not organized. That's but it's gray. But I'm not saying they're wrong, because obviously I like the idea.
Yeah,
I get
that's.
the idea.
I know. Let me talk about what your response was.
Yeah. So sorry, I forgot where I was going.
Because you've said some, like, you've definitely taken a negative connotation, or I did, from what you just said. But I will say this: like, the first thing I texted you was like, "Yo, have you been watching this? How do you feel?" And you, all caps, were like, "That's capitalism."
Yeah,
I love it. I literally love it.
Let them play.
And so, but you've looked into it more, so you know. Understand.
But I'm not reneging on that. I believe in that still. I think, bro, you want to play this game? You didn't think the minnows were going to team up and bite you, bro?
Have you seen that picture?
No.
It's like sharks, and then it's minnows in the form of a shark biting the sharks. Is like,
I have not, so it's funny. But you want to play, you want to put, here's the downside. And this is what I told you. I'll say it in different words, I'm sure. Someone will get left holding this billion dollar bag. It's not going to be Goldman Sachs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I saw a good post about this that people don't realize. Like, yes, you are hurting this $1 billion hedge fund, but there's these $1 trillion hedge funds that are making money either way, these banks, that I think that's who they think they're hurting.
Well, so yeah, you had mentioned some company who's like a holding company.
Yeah, the security company. I think they mentioned it. Citadel.
It's like who? I'm sure they make a lot of money, bro. But this isn't
the bank.
And even here's another thing. How much? Really? Let's just pretend no one's going to get their feet hold to the fire. What percentage of their portfolio did they have specifically shorting GameStop stock? I could tell you now it was less than 1%. They play Google, the thing, right? Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google. That's what everyone plays. Some, they might have had a small experimental team out. You're not going to, who will get bankrupted? Is some idiot and commit suicide. Some dude on Reddit who thinks he's about to get rich and cashes out his 401k and puts it on this. That's who's going to get murked.
I love those memes where they're like, we now have a new richest person. It's not Jeff Bezos. It's Tiggo Bitty 67. His Reddit name. But no, I agree. I think that's
talked about with the insider trading. Why is it, or these types of things? It's because to get a result that benefits you, it costs exponentially more to the rest.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe you can make this company lose $1 billion, but when there's 1 million outstanding, or the math isn't going to lie up, but you'll get what I'm saying. But when all of these Redditor, because they're out by now, they already covered their shorts already. So if you watch, they're running it back up right now. They're not playing that game. They're already gone.
Some of them were. So this is why it was so big. A lot of those hedge funders were like talking shit though. Like, no, you guys won't be able to hold. We're going to hold. Like, it's fine. It'll go back down. And then those were the dudes who paid from it. But what a lot of people don't realize, the down, and me and you talked about it, a lot of the down from today was Robinhood, and that's the crazier part of this story.
Yeah, so let me just finish this thought, and because that is really where it gets interesting. That's where it gets complex.
Yeah.
Because it takes, and that's why I kind of set the stage, because even originally why it's so crazy is because there's not really a good guy or a bad guy. The Citadel Fund, they're doing business like usual. They think a company's going to lose, they bet on it. That's what the stock market is.
Yeah.
Speculating. these other, the Redditors came in, they're not bad either. They're like, we see a weakness we can exploit. They're going, and that's kept in my world. That's allowed.
Yeah.
You get to play, and you win or you like.
Yeah.
So, my only point being, and I think everyone should probably know, if you're starting investing in stocks, don't buy GameStop will go back down to $9 or $12, whatever it was. There's no fundamental that's driven this price up. It will come back down, and Goldman Sachs will be long gone, and there will be people holding, who spent 40 times the value of this stock, and they can't sell it to anyone.
Yeah, like you have to understand, the people who did this was not to make money. They were to prove a point about the stock market. And some people are going to lose money to prove that point. And most of the time, it's not going to be the people who started. The people who started are really about to make a cool chunk of change.
I didn't bring a pen in here.
But you, who they got to hop on very late into the game, is going to be left holding that back.
Yeah, because they're going to say, they started to prove a point. But I think they're making money, bro.
So now,
now to the interesting part, the truly interesting. That's interesting, but this
is crazy. So Robinhood, and this is one of the things when I talked to Julian, I was like, yeah, I feel like it's more based on wealthy people. And Julian was like, no, there's these individual E-Trade, Robinhood. There's these places you could sign up for free. You could trade on an individual level. You could trade penny stocks. You don't have to trade big stocks. So this is where this gets crazy interesting. So Robinhood, the name I know is already going to be funny, but Robinhood stands by all people can trade. You don't need to have expertise. You could go in and trade. They decided last night, I think was the first time, that they were going to remove GameStop, AMC, which were the two. So those were the two that they're. Let's just use GameStop because we've used them for example. They allowed you to sell GameStop stock, but you could no longer buy it, which drew it down a lot because a lot of people, from what I read on Reddit and Twitter today, wanted to sell their stock, not really to get out of GameStop, but to get away from Robinhood, because Robinhood stopped allowing people to buy stock. So as of earlier today, we are talking, it was going down substantially, which I felt like allowed people to get out of that position, allowed the hedge funders to get out of that position because it got low, and then it started going back up because people got into Web Bull, E-Trade, and all these different things that were allowing GameStop to be bought. And so it went back up, or it has went back up at least a little bit since or up until the close. And so I thought that was interesting. And then that is where it's tied into Citadel. So Citadel bailed out one of the hedge funds, like $3 billion. Right before this happened, and Citadel pays for, I think they said 40% of Robinhood's stock portfolio. Mm-hmm. So it's a super high amount, which means they probably make decisions. Other fun fact for you, sorry, I'm gonna just throw this in here. I always thought this was interesting. So I read about this, that when they do, what's that show called? The Shark Tank. Mm-hmm. Why they always ask for 25%. You have to own 25% of a company to get to look at the books. If you own less than 25% of a company, you don't have access to books. 25% or greater, you have access to books. I didn't know that. That's why I read this on some random like Shark Tank article, which I thought was pretty interesting, which makes a lot of sense why they're like, nah, I'm not going to accept that 10, but I'll do 25, or I'll accept 10, but I'm not going to give you as much money because basically my money's just yours. And so 40% is huge. Like, you're making decisions if, you're investing 40%. You also just bailed out a hedge fund, or gave $3 billion to help them out, because that's what Citadel is, a securities company. And so it looked that's what, like, going with what you said, interesting. It looked very interesting that it seemed like Robinhood coincidentally went from what they stood for, which is all people, to basically stand up for the rich and allow them to, what you even said, all those hedge funds probably have backed out by now.
Yeah, and I want, because I love the stock market. Not even that I love trading, but I love the idea, and I cannot justify, and I tried. I did research. I cannot justify what Robinhood did really in any meaningful way.
Well, especially in the fact that they took like, we're going to go with volatility as our reason, like it's volatile, but and Michael gave a good example. They've let people go bankrupt multiple times. And so what's the example he gives? They let a guy trade their margin 1.5 years ago to turn a 5K portfolio into negative 350K. So 350K debt, they let him do no problem. And they're using this as like, oh, well, it's volatile. So we're looking out for you. And that's not your job though. And that's what I know that's what you're saying. In a free market, your job is not to protect me. It's to let me be as dumb as I want to be.
Right. So, and that's where I wish I could stand up for him, but I can't think of any really that holds any water.
That's Michael said something I thought about earlier. You should damn near short Robinhood at this point.
If they're publicly traded, I probably would plan on, because the people trade with them like, oh, the idea, like I can be a day trader on Rob, like I can be that, but now they know that they're not on their team. So I'm curious to see how that all plays out. You got one for me? So I've been. Is it an IPA?
Yeah.
Is it good?
You want some more vodka? No, it's strong. It's strong. It's going to taste like a grapefruit.
Pour a little in this cup. So I'll try and pretend like I agree with them and say like, it did give your retailer the opportunity to back out. But what made it wrong is that they didn't apply the rules evenly, which is what I'm sure I'm not looking at the comments right now, but I'm sure you can't say the big hitters. So this is another thing people don't understand. The stock market opens up at like 6:30 our time, right? 9:30 Eastern time, and it closes at 1 o'clock our time, 4 o'clock. That's because we're using a service that operates in those hours. The players trade all night and all day. They don't. You can see, watch, if you were to Google GameStop right now, there'll be a gray line.
But
and
officially
that means
it goes through when it's opened, right?
Or so they trade, I think they trade over the counter. So they're not subject to tomorrow morning's prices. I'm almost positive. Someone fact check me. But because they're not using,
it's like lock and array, even though the lock desk isn't open, because there's this.
Well, it's like you work at Target and I need a product from Target. You can take, I'll just scan it. I'm here. I got to go tomorrow. You see, like all of us use some others. So there's some problem with the stock market. This kind of breaks my heart, honest, because I love the free market, and this was like one of the last.
And that's why, I knew you weren't happy about it. And that's honestly, you took a stance that was very synonymous with your belief in it based on our conversation 2 months ago.
But our first conversation was before Robinhood had flipped out.
Yeah. Well, no, and that's what I mean. You were disappointed in Robinhood because it was against your stance, which is it's fair for everyone to do. Robinhood took a crazy stance. And that's where I wonder if that's a conversation they had where it's like, can we get bailed out and survive by these hedge funds who were protecting from losing?
So there's a couple things that I don't know. Right? Because I'm a retail quote unquote trader and I haven't even traded in like 3 months. But if I take leverage against Robinhood, I think Robinhood or whoever backs them is on the hook for it. So if all of a sudden there's all of this volatility, but Robinhood or their backers are financially liable, because let's say someone buys a 1,000 GameStop shares on leverage, which means they only have 25%. If Robinhood or if GameStop dies tomorrow and this guy goes ghost, they bought the shares under my name. I'm the broker. So I don't know.
Well, is it Robinhood? You're not allowed to short though. I think that's what someone was pointing out. They were like, different brokers have rules.
That's because you
just can't make up rules in the middle of the game.
You can't so like if I have $100,000 in my Robinhood account and I trade on leverage 400,000, or I buy options, which is automatically 10 times leverage. So if you buy an option,
can you do that on Robinhood? So I guess what my question.
Someone would have to check. I don't know. You definitely can on TD Ameritrade, who also did it.
So you can't.
So I don't know if Robinhood, but let's take TD. They also did the same thing. If I trade and I'm doing something blatantly stupid, and they're like, you just traded like $100,000 on options, which is 10x. I'm on the hook for $1 million on something I know is nonsense. I know we're boring these people to death, but I think it's kind of
huge news. Yeah. I like it personally.
It would make sense at that point. Like, yo, you guys are all making these bets that you think you're on the hook for. I'm on the hook for.
Yeah.
But they didn't say that though. So they did not put that in their statement. I'm giving them credit.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to justify
They need to hire you.
So what you're saying. I wish them the best of luck. If you're new, don't play this game. So, and I hope
which is weird. I could say that. I read a lot of this stuff and nothing made me think like I need to hop in there. It seemed very sketchy. And then one of the new ones they're trying to do is Nokia. I don't trust anything when right when they say who they are, I'm like, those companies suck. Like they might as well be trying to do Circuit City and Albertsons at this point, because that's how it feels. Like it's really bad, and that's where it's a problem. The companies suck.
Who do you use to trade? Julian, Fidelity, and I used TD Ameritrade's Think or Swim for a while, but I don't do it anymore. Blah blah blah. There's always an off cycle going on. Only big players get. So I said that. That's true. Wait, Robinhood understands less than Julian about trading. I don't know if that's a diss, but like maybe that guy on Reddit shut all of Robinhood down.
But yeah, they already filed class actions. That's what I thought about hopping in, trying to create a Robinhood real quick so I could hop in the class action. I'm all about a class action. You throw your boy a quick little $200 check for nothing, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
I join pretty much every class. If you send me a check first, I join that thing every time.
When you get that beautiful letter saying you're going to get money if you opt in or out, have you got that a few times? And
opt in. Let's not even front. We've got a few of those from the same company.
Pretty much every company I've worked for, I've gotten money from.
Dude,
I've never complained about a job, but when they're like, we're about to send you money, it's like, that's a hard.
Dude, between jobs and GMC, Chevy alone, they be throwing your boy checks. I'll be like, yep. I'm always juiced to when someone hits me. They're like, hey, yo, did you get a check? I'm like, nope, but I'm about to. Let alone if it's someone I know worked there like shorter than me. I'm like, how much did you? $37. Looks like $120 check for your boy.
Did you? I just got my second stimulus. You plungers yet?
Oh, I got mine. People were getting theirs on like New Year. I got mine on like the 2nd. I got mine early. That fresh $600. I was appreciative. Threw that thing right into savings. That's why I need to invest more. That's honestly, I need to do a Roth IRA. That's what I'll do next, just because I like the fact of it getting taxed now. I can't imagine taxes will be more later.
Yeah, for everybody watching, all 7 of you now, if you don't have one, start a Roth. That is my financial advice for the week.
Yeah, just so you know, so the difference between a Roth, you could do a IRA or a 401k. The difference between Roth is taxed now. So when you're retired, you get all of the money. The opposite, so if you just have an IRA or a 401k, it gets taxed then. So you pay it untaxed now, and it gets taxed then at whatever the tax rate is. So if it's more, which is most likely, it'll get taxed. And not only that, why I believe in them, you're going to probably need more of your income when you're retired than you need currently.
That's it.
Very smart. I actually got schooled on that by a old customer when I was in LO. He put me on game.
Yeah, that's where I learned about.
I was like, dude, all right, my bad. You need to be doing my job, but educated me, and I thought it was too good to be true. And now I have researched that and learned about that. I have a book that I still need to read about getting your tax bracket to zero. Looks like a great book I need to read. But other than that, man, what's up? What you got? Some funny news? How do you feel about Trump getting banned from Twitter?
No, we'll skip Trump for now and dive into some different stuff. We only got 15 minutes left. We talked about that for 25 minutes.
Do we have a cap, or are you just trying to start at an hour?
I'm just figuring
hour 30?
We'll go about an hour 30.
Cool. All right.
So I have just the last thing for Mike. No matter what, you can always add money to it. Like, I have other retirements, but then I have a Roth too. So it's like, do whatever you're going to do and then put money into your Roth. It doesn't hurt anything. You can do $1 billion. There's $1 billion investment strategies, but at the end of the day, no matter what, I got $6,000 contributions to put in my Roth. So just to Michael criticizes for our free financial advice, but
yeah, you don't have to listen. Yeah.
But I did want to talk. So Rio Linda made national news. Some of you guys probably already know this by now, but we have a guy who flies around on a personal paraglider, which is essentially it's like a big kite with a engine on it, a propeller. And did you hear about this? He dressed up as Santa Claus.
Explain what.
I don't know if people know what a personal paraglider is.
No, keep it going.
He dressed up as Santa Claus like the week before Christmas, was driving around like just to, as a little stunt. He's an old Rio Linda guy. They do that kind of thing. He crashed into the power lines and took the electricity out for like a couple hundred, like 400 people in Rio Linda. And they had to the fire department had to come pull him out of the electrical cords.
So he was stuck in there. He couldn't even lie about it, bro. He couldn't even lie about it. He was just stuck up there. Hold on. I want to know, like, was it cartoon style? He was up there, just you could see a skeleton up there. Was he hurt the whole time, or was he just stuck?
He was fine. Yeah, he just got stuck. He was flying over the city to drop candy canes for the kids, and that's when he experienced engine problems. He was just handing out candy canes to the kids and came a little too low, she says. According to Sacramento Metro Fire, is giving him a big sigh of relief as Christmas approaches. A big relief. He's going to be able to get all the presents to all the kids everywhere. It's a good day. So they pulled him out. He's alive. But I was just cracking up because this was on AP News. So this made it to national level.
So have you ever? And I haven't read. I'm surprised I haven't read this. So have you ever watched that movie Santa Claus with Tim Allen?
Of course, yeah.
So he was a mix of Santa Claus and the elves from that movie. They had the jetpacks. He was a mix, and was just slanging them canes. He was just slanging them. Hold on. Because they said handing them, but he wasn't. He was flying.
He must have been throwing them,
dropping them on houses from far up too. So people still got candy.
Not far enough, bro. He hit the power line.
I was gonna say because you probably got some candy canes out in the yard right now from this dude you don't know about. So he just dropping them things, hit some power lines, and just knocked power out.
Luckily, he didn't get killed.
Pre-windstorm, because if you've been out here in Sacramento lately, this windstorm is nuts.
Blew half my roof off, bro. I don't know if you saw that. They're coming out. I got to pay for that. Knocked a few trees down. So my shingles, just to add salt to the wound, I just saw it, blew up against my car and scratched up the whole side of my car. So now I'm going to debate if I'm going to... Think I should call the insurance though and pay the deductible?
They're like you were sandpapering your car, bro. Like, it was shingles.
You think they won't pay me nothing for that?
No, like
you got to look at it, bro. It's a good amount of damage. We already talked about Bitcoin and my suicide watch. I don't think anyone posted any of the worst things to do by yourself. I was kind of excited for that. And then another thing that I got a kick out of, and this is 2-week-old news. But during the election, you're right. So during the election, everyone votes for their president, their senator, etc., and then local ordinances. So Colorado finally approves. They're going to systematically reintroduce the gray wolf to their state. And it's just one of those things where it's like,
why, bro?
Why?
It's when so that's like we talked about that in the last cycle. So not this cycle, but like condoms and porn. It's like there's not a million other things you could like that. You decided to put that on your list of like 12 things. Was let's reintroduce gray wolves. The black and brown ones don't suffice.
Yeah, and like we're gonna bring a super predator that we've spent the whole 1800s getting out of here. You ever hear that saying? I've heard it recently again, but never tear down a fence you don't know why they put it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we need to teach our whole generation that just because you don't understand why they did it 80 years ago doesn't mean it's worth ripping it apart. Case in point.
Exactly. You need to at least know what it was and why they did that. That's crazy. So random funny stuff.
They do have cows out there, like all this. Anyway.
Now that we're talking about random animal stuff, I wrote this around. So this was a crazy new scientific thing. They recently removed memories. How they track this, no idea. But they now found out that they can remove and add memories to a snail's brain. So they can make them forget basic things. I don't know if it's sliding across. I don't know how they track this. I should dig a little deeper, but I thought this was interesting. And they also added things that didn't happen, and they like believed that it happened in the snail's brain. So this is like the start of them being able to plug and play in humans later. But it's like, first of all, this is one of those things. I don't know how you track that. So maybe I need to do more research then. How do you know what memories are there and what memories aren't?
With a snail, like all of a sudden he's like, I remember
he's just smoking a big cigarette. So he's like, I know how to smoke. And he's just smoking a cigarette. So I don't know about that. Then I'll end it with, or at least get towards the end with a funny thing, because this is something that I find hilarious on Twitter on a regular basis. Women often get on Twitter and they claim things are either gay or things men shouldn't do. And I have now created a list of those things. So according
to things that men should not do according to Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eat breakfast.
What?
Eat dessert.
Wait, what?
Or drink margaritas.
Okay, come on. There's Mexican men. Thousands of Mexican
dude. So understand all the comments are comedy roasting these people.
Yeah. Who put this out though?
It's always different people. So it'll be like, it'll just be some woman on Twitter and it goes viral because she's like, all I'm saying is I should never be seeing no dude drinking a margarita.
Right.
And it'll be all comedy, dude. It's so funny. One of the ones I posted with the breakfast thing, because I was like, dude, you can't eat breakfast. You can't eat breakfast. You can't eat dessert. You can't just be hungry after your meal and eat dessert. And it was a picture of Ellen. So when Ellen DeGeneres first came out, it was like a main like front page, and it was super big letters. It's her with her little haircut, and it just says, "I am gay." It was like when you're feeling a little hungry after your meal and you just want to eat a little bit of that cheesecake. It's just, "I am gay," and that's. Dude, it's such a great. Twitter is an interesting place, man. I think I realized what it is there's so many fake accounts on there. Like Facebook, you kind of have to own the dumb stuff you say, and people still say dumb stuff. But there is a politician who, this happens all the time. People tweet from the wrong account. Kevin Durant is a super famous person who did that. He's on there tweeting, defending himself, but from his real account. Dude, there's a politician who did this, and he's like, I'm a gay black man from North Carolina, and Obama never made me feel as good as Trump did. And it's like from his actual account. And of course, he's like an old white dude. And those are just like the funniest things. And that's why Twitter is scary, man. Like people get to be on there and you don't know what's real. And honestly, there's a new thing on Twitter is stealing stories. So you'll read full 13, tweet threads, and you're like, that is wild. And the next comment will be like, read this 6 years ago, and they'll post the original, and you're just like, why? Like, that's a crazy thing to get out there and just tell stories like you lived them is wild to me. And so Twitter is more and more becoming where you can't really trust things that you see on there.
I feel like you never should have, but
well, and I don't mean news stories, but even funny stories. Like I feel like you like hearing a funny story, like I should expect that came from you, not you reposted someone else's story from 10 years ago. That's just weird. And that's the problem, man, when attention is where it is now, where people just want it like it's a drug. They'll do anything for it, and you just have to kind of click through it and hope for the best, and that sucks.
Bro, I don't even want to get in on Twitter because I talk about it all the time, but I do want to talk about implanting memories into snails. That seems more.
I'll do more research.
That's you ever see any of the Total Recalls? The one with Colin Farrell or with Arnold? What a trippy movie, bro. Both of them. That's Philip K. Dick for you. If you don't read sci-fi at all, one, he's a god in the sci-fi realm, but two, like the idea that your memories, I think about that all the time. Like I could wake up today could have actually been my first day on Earth. God could have just created Earth yesterday and just gave us all these memories that we have. And now we're just because think about it. the reverse could happen, and it's completely logical that I could hit my head, I'd have no memories, and everyone would accept that, right? Because our brains work that way. But then again, I could just have memories of my brain working that way. And raise your hand.
First off, okay, you're gonna mention Total Recall. He didn't hit his head.
I know he paid. Well, in the Colin Farrell one, he paid. In the other one, he was an operative, right?
Brought his memories back. He had
new
memories inserted. Maybe I don't know if he will.
No, he did. No, he did have. I'm using that as an example. He did have new. But remember, so he signed up. He's like, I want an adventure full of twists and turns and romance, and then like they put him back. Anyway, I don't want to get into telling that whole story. But my point is, memories are funny because even they don't. Philosophers, physicists, biologists, no one knows where they are, what causes them, how they're like. We have a very vague idea of like how they get put in there, but like we don't really know what it is that much or why you remember certain things.
I've been wanting to read books about dreams. I think dreams are mad interesting. There's a bunch of theories on like dreams are to delete memories so that your brain could hold things that matter, things like that. I wholeheartedly believe that especially like me, like I have normal dreams. I have dreams that are like everyday life. I'll go to work in a dream, normal stuff. There's some things that are weird where I'll mix like my college group with like you guys, people I hang out with today, things like that make dreams weird. But a lot of times they are normal. And that made me realize there's no way I'm not remembering things from 20 years ago that possibly were dreams, and I'm like, oh, this happened. Because some of them were so normal that I would not be surprised if I'm like, I did this.
Bro, I used to have someone in my life who would talk to me and tell me a story. And then for real, 70% through the story, be like, oh, I think this might have been a dream. And I'm like, bruh, if you don't remember if this happened or not now, I'm going to be pissed.
See, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that part. I'm going to write it out like it was fact, but I truly do believe it. I think there are that. And that's a theory about deja vu. It's like deja vu is you remembering like something happening that you dreamt about. That's a theory of it.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot. So there's my common version of deja vu theory that I think is like you see something and your brain stores it in the wrong part. And then like your new brain finds it and is like, oh, we already had it. You know what I mean? And it's like two file workers and one guy puts it in the wrong cabinet and the other guy's like looking for something else. Like, what's this doing? And you're like, the other one is that we're some kind of 4-dimensional time traveling beings, but I won't get into that right now.
You think it's like that, but we don't know the fourth dimension? Like we don't see the fourth dimension. So it's just, because that's like the dark matter situation to me, which is weird. It's like we will never be able to know what dark matter is because once you move it into regular matter, it becomes not dark matter.
So just to clarify for those watching, dark matter is a name for something that is not there is no dark matter. It's a name for an abstraction of an idea of something that's out there that we can't see, measure, know, interface with. That possibly or maybe not comes from the gravity of black holes. But anyway, I do think about it. It's like these really abstract ideas, and it's like they're almost untestable by definition, right?
Yeah.
Like if it's unseeable, unknowable, untestable.
But it's 94%.
I had something better to say.
Dark energy and dark matter is 94% of the universe, though, right?
Yeah.
Do you have
I had something good. No, I had something really good to say.
Oh, yeah. How loud do you think this is?
Did you just blow your eardrums out? Oh, you haven't interrupted me much today, man. We did good. We did really good.
I'm working on it.
So we got about 2 minutes left for our standard operating time. Is there anything you want to close with?
Any positive things? I have a couple.
Yeah, go.
So one of the things I wrote down, we have to talk about this next show, Helen Keller. So research Helen Keller. So there's multiple conspiracies about Helen Keller being a fraud.
That's what I want to talk about.
Not a real person. So
American movie AMC producer. Remember that.
Because that's another stock, though. But no, I'm not. I'm saving that. But Two things. So I'll talk about something that I don't like that I think is a weird thing that I've kind of felt like for a while. So the first thing is don't be these people. So this was a good quote, and I never really thought of it in this, but it's like pulling up the ladder once you've reached the top. Like that's such a lame thing to do. I've always thought about that. Like there's those people who are like, they finally got a good job and they're like, I don't know how you could be working at McDonald's. Or like you worked there a year ago, relax. Or you live at home with your mom and they are like just moved out from their mom's crib a year. That's just a weird thing. And I know it comes from an insecurity, but don't do it. And then lastly, I'll say a quote that I have. And this kind of goes with multiple quotes. I think I've seen it said already, but it goes with it. So the secret to getting ahead is getting started. Don't wait. Get started. If you want to get ahead, you have to get started. And that's the secret to it. And, get wrecked.
Get wrecked. Get wrecked, Citadel Securities. Never mind. So I'm going to start losing. Next week when we talk, I will be 3 days into my new dieting plan. So I'll let you guys know where I started and where I'm going.
Helen Keller reminded you of that?
No, but your motivational quote about getting started. Because I'm starting February 1st. No, but what you remind me of was AMC. AMC is the biggest theater company, right? The biggest distributor of movies via movie theater. Do you know who owns the controlling portion of AMC?
Comcast.
Fox.
The Chinese Communist Party. I hate to bring it up so late when no one's watching. When's the last time you watched a movie that had a Chinese villain? An American movie with a Chinese villain.
Can I just say something? American movies are not turning us into communists.
You got to be like Rush Hours or something.
20 years. Do you remember in 2012 when Red Dawn, there was that drama because they had a Chinese character and they made him change it to Korean?
Hold on a second.
You don't remember? Didn't answer my question.
Yeah.
Do you remember Red Dawn was supposed to be about Chinese invading America and they changed it to Korea?
Yes, but hold on a second. In movies, right?
How many Russian villains do you see?
All the time. But Asian people die in movies. Like, they'll always just kill off Asian people, and who cares? And a lot of AMC movies, too. So...
But being a bold villain is a lot different than just getting killed.
I mean, they're just killing off.
So you don't think it's odd at all that our biggest theater company... So if you own a movie studio or a distribute and you want to make a movie pre-COVID, you know that you have to have theaters to pick it up and distribute it. You don't think it's odd at all that the Chinese Communist Party owns American? I don't know what the C stands for. It's not channel. American movie. I don't know. Someone look it up.
Corporation, probably.
Doesn't seem odd. And coincidentally, there's no Chinese villains. I just watched Tenet that came out 2020, Russian villain. Like there's Russian villains in every movie.
I mean,
China is our number one existential.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I watch a lot.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Because I feel like I watch a lot of shows and stuff.
Is there a Chinese James Bond villain?
The Yakuza. But I feel like besides Russians, the Yakuza is one of the biggest. Is that Japanese?
Japanese.
Well, because that's what I was going to say. But I feel like that's more of that than anything. But to narrow it down to Chinese, I don't know that I could.
In a movie, though, most of the time.
Here's the thing. China is our number one. China's a bigger threat to America than Russia. That's not a question.
It is true, but it's not true because Americans think they can just beat up Chinese.
Well, because that's what I was going to say. I was going to say next to Russian villains, the biggest villains that I watch on TV is the Yakuza. But that's still Japanese. So even then,
from your perspective,
I would say Mexicans. Mexicans common. Mexicans kidnap my kid or whatever.
What I'm trying to say is that.
But it's never Chinese. I'm not even going to argue that. That seems right. Maybe it's because it's like you just put Asians together.
They don't even play Asian characters really.
But so proportionate to our Chinese threat, we know Chinese are funding civil wars in Africa. We know Chinese are funding civil wars in the Middle East. We know they're telling Taiwan that if they try and declare independence, they're going to
American multi-cinema.
There we go. Thank you. But
Kill Bill.
That's Japanese.
Chinese conglomerate Wanda Group.
I think triads is the triad Chinese?
No, I feel like that's Japanese too.
Maybe there is no Chinese. All Chinese people. No, triad is Chinese.
Oh, so
that's
triads.
from Rush Hour.
Disney owns AMC.
So Black Clover right now, they're doing the Dark Triads. That's the whole arc.
Who owns AMC? Who's doing it?
Wait.
Black Clover. If you're not caught up on Black Clover, you should. It's fine.
I'm way behind.
Oh, you haven't even made it through the whole Elf arc?
I'm only on episode 84. I haven't watched.
Oh my god!
I was living. It's well over 2 years behind.
So you haven't even watched. Have you watched that? The Leaked versus the Wizard King? Because that's right around there where the Wizard King fights, and you get to see his grimoire, which is a crazy ass grimoire.
No, I don't know. The last one I saw was the underwater arc, where
oh, so that's where you do get to see Asta level up a little bit.
Asta goes off a little bit.
Yami goes.
Yami
Dude,
goes
you would
off
love where Yami is right now. You would love where he is.
So did you find out who owns AMC? Did you fact check me yet?
Yeah, you're wrong. They owned it from the 2018. So
Okay, so they just sold it.
Okay, so they had AMC from 2012 to 2018. Oh my God, we're all communists.
So and they made.
No, it doesn't mean we are, but that's crazy.
From 2012
that's when Red Dawn came out, ironically,
but
and they made them change the
crazy.
villain from Chinese to Korean.
Red Dawn is one of the shittiest
because no one believes Korea would invade America.
The
That's
movie is
stupid.
dumb.
But that is still hella propaganda to be able to avoid villains ever being Chinese.
No. From
You have to
2012
admit
to
that.
2018 is when they owned the company.
Okay, but all right, so that's when they owned the biggest theater company. So that's just what I know. What else do they own?
What else do you not know?
I mean, people get in trouble all the time though, because that's even like them getting in trouble for what's that movie? Seth Rogen and James Franco. The interview. They got in dude. They legit were not allowed to drop that movie in theaters after that.
Been fucking fake as shit.
I don't know, man. That was wild.
What year was that? That had to be before
like
Trump came around, because Trump.
Yeah.
The interview was not 2018. No one wasn't born when the interview came out.
Yeah, I'll say like 2015.
2014. Holler at your boy.
What?
I knew that because Trump would never let us get
2015
punked like that. Not Donald J. Trump.
He would have dropped that shit in theaters for sure. I feel like Sony back down there though.
But yeah, anyway, so there's my conspiracy theory for the week, that we've been systematically turned into communists, and that Americans do not take China seriously because they own our news media, our movie media, and other outlets. And I also think that secretly, the true reason AMC was caught up in this whole GameStop thing is because there's going to be some kind of Chinese interference. That's my tinfoil hat conspiracy of the week. We're at a long time in. I'll let you close it up. We're at 1:37. Any last thoughts?
No, that's all I got. I'm happy to be back, man. I'm happy. It looks like we're going to have to do the YouTube thing moving forward, but I'm super pumped about being back. I mean, it's been 2 weeks. I think when you left, I asked you how your trip was. You didn't ask me how my trip was, but
I asked you how you been. Okay, you know what?
Not on air.
Oh, that wasn't on there. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
So I'll talk about my trip and all my new life things in the future, because Julian doesn't really care. But yeah, we'll get to that. I'm happy to be back. I'm juiced to be back. I feel a lot better about knowing we're going to be able to move forward. With YouTube, we could schedule it every single week too, so we don't have to have where we're planning it each week. We could just put it Thursday at 6, which we pretty much do each week. So I'm happy about that, and it looks like this is just our home, potentially to do this, maybe even do like a double stream to Twitch in the future. But for the most part, we're going to be YouTube shouties, so we don't have to do the double ad to YouTube. But for all the people who migrated here to YouTube from Facebook, I mean, obviously, we thank you. We're very appreciative of that, and look forward to seeing us each week and, you know, having fun. I mean, it's always fun. We talked about fast food chains and executive orders and Robinhood, and, you know, I like kind of where we bounce in terms of that. And eventually, I know Michael says he doesn't want to hear all of our anime takes, but we'll probably get into anime takes more here and there. But I'm pumped about the show.
Oh, really?
Let's keep it going.
Yeah, and I want to just fact check. This is why I don't like let you guys fact check me, bro. No, I want to clarify this for the people still listening. As of December 2019, Daly and Wanda Incorporated, whatever, owns 74% of voting shares of AMC. So they still own the company. They just don't own. They sold some of it, which reinforces my conspiracy theory.
Can you say you guys? You said I can't trust you guys fact checking.
Well, because you guys both always act like I don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that other place was a China.
You guys.
Still, it still doesn't. It doesn't prove your point. But okay, go ahead.
They hold 75% of the combined voting power, i.e., you're getting brainwashed by.
They don't.
They also own legendary
Asian
films. They also own legendary films.
Oh,
another major movie.
How many Asian characters?
Anime type stuff.
This is why I quit this fucking show. I swear.
Anime type. You've been watching Attack on Titan still?
No,
dude.
I
This
thought the
last
second
season
season was trash. Honestly,
yeah, you gotta make it through there because they talked about the basement, but they never make it back to the basement. They eventually do, so you gotta make it.
Spoiler alert.
That has like you're gonna be fine.
Yawn holds 75% of your will.
Damn.
I'm in this.
Motive.
I'm surrounded by communist brainwashed sheep who don't even know they're being brainwashed. And listen to what I'm saying. It will come out in the future. GameStop was not actually the cause of this whole thing. It's actually AMC. If you wanted to kill someone and not let anyone know you were trying to kill them, you'd kill a whole bunch of people.
GameStop
and you wouldn't kill your target first.
coronavirus?
You'd kill them second, third, or fourth. The GameStop got going.
What is that from? Shooter? Sounds like
Shooter.
the plot of Shooter.
It's not the plot of Shooter, but
Well, that's how the killing happened.
so
Spoiler alert.
AMC, owned by Chinese, who are known to mess around in our social media, ironically gets multiple 100x multiplier stock value. You heard it here first. That's the hot take of the week. I love you. I need you. We'll talk to you next week. Closing words, RG. Are you going to be here next week or do you quit?
I quit.
All right, we're wrapping it up. Have a good one, you guys. Thank you.
Peace.